So if you like Hancock County, I'm Angie Swihart from Hancock County, the FCS agent there. But if you don't have your packet here, then check with your agent and they'll have the print-offs for you. And I've had some of my ladies ask for the PowerPoint, and we can get you that too if that's something that you want to show, because there are some visuals, but you just have to talk to your agent and see if that works, what works out for you all. So today we're going to talk about the osteoporosis because we want to help you at what point of life you're in. It doesn't matter. You know, nutrition and health starts when we're younger, but we can, you know, keep our bodies working well if we eat right and exercise. I'm sure you'll have heard that all your life, but today we're going to be an advocate for your bone health. That's what we're going to talk about. You need to know your risk. You want to learn to take care of your bones, and we're going to discuss health with you can discuss your health with a healthcare professional. They can give you more information. So osteoporosis is a disease that causes bones to become porous or less dense, weak, and more, it could cause, you could have fractures. Today we're going to talk about osteoporosis and who gets it, the risk factors, diagnosis and treatment, recommended for strong bones across the lifespan. Before we dive in, let's see what you know. And we're going to take a little quiz. So, bones in the body, this is a true or false. Bones in the body consistently renew, meaning new bones are made while old bones are broken down.
False.
This is actually true. The younger you are, the faster the body makes bones, then breaks it down. This process increases the body bone mass. Hit the wrong button. Sorry, y'all. I'm just getting used to this computer. During childhood is a period of rapid growth. It is best time to build bone density. Bone mineral density, or the BMD, basically refers to the sturdiness of your bones. So when you're younger, you think, you know, your bones are stronger, which is the result of the combination of bone structure and mineralization. So in fact, proper nutrition and lifestyle habits of a pregnant mother can help build strong bones before the baby is even born. So you think about the pregnant mom and she's eating right and taking care of herself, so that's going to be better for the baby. It says, for example, by week 34, a baby's bones are fully developed but still soft. During childhood and adolescence and early adulthood, bones continue to grow in size and density. During this period, proper nutrition and regular exercise can significantly increase bone mass and enhance bone health. Low calcium consumption contributes to the reduction of bone density and bone loss. I know I've heard all of my life, drink your milk, take your calcium, you know, eat your food that has the nutrition for your bones. Maybe your mom or dad said, drink your milk, or drink all your milk, that kind of thing. Milk is high in calcium, and you need calcium for bone growth and development. We'll talk more about the importance of calcium in just a little bit. Poor health decisions like smoking, inactivity, excess alcohol intake, and poor diet can decrease bone mass. So, you know, we all make bad decisions of our, you know, that contribute to our health to decline. So if we make those better decisions, hopefully, we can keep our bones from deteriorating. Let's see. The process of making and breaking bone starts to slow down in a person's early 20s. Now, this started several years ago for some of us. As we age, the body breaks down more bone than it makes. So, you know, this is a process that happened when we were younger, and it still, you know, continues as we go. So let's look at the, all right, hit the wrong button every time. So this is true or false? Childhood is the best time to build bone mineral density.
True.
Okay, that is true. It is normal to lose bone mass over time, but those who have a higher peak bone mass when they are young are better protected against fractures and osteoporosis in older age. So, does anybody like milk? So, I don't like milk, so I'm going to be in bad shape the older I get. I'm going to be in bad shape. But I do like cheese and things like that, so maybe I'll get a little calcium from that. The National Institute of Health, with the NIH, encourages a bone bank, in quotes, philosophy in which you invest in bone health while you're young so that benefits last into your older age. The goal is to bank as much bone strength and health as possible for as long as you can. So there's still lots of things you can continue doing for your bone health as we age. So the next true or false. Osteoporosis is a disease that causes bones to become porous or less dense, weak, and more prone to fractures.
True.
That is true. I just said that a while ago. Osteoporosis is a medical condition that causes bones to become porous or less dense or weak, and more prone to fractures. When bones break down faster than the body can rebuild them, the bone density decreases and the bones become brittle and fragile. There's a picture later where you'll see the difference in the bones. The decrease in bone density makes the bones weak, both inside and outside. A bone with osteoporosis looks like a honeycomb. You all can imagine that. The spaces within the honeycomb become larger, and outside the shell honeycomb becomes thinner. So here's your picture of the different. So this is a healthy bone. There are some spaces in there, but it's pretty thick there. And then so the osteoporosis, when it starts, the holes are getting bigger, and then your bone structure is thinning. And if you have severe osteoporosis, the spaces there is larger and your thinner walls there on your bones. I keep hitting the wrong button. Another term you may have heard, before we do this, another term you may have heard is osteopenia. This means that your bone, I don't know how to pronounce that, but this means your bone mineral density is lower than normal and that you are at an increased risk for breaking a bone. Not everyone diagnosed with osteopenia will develop osteoporosis. So it's like the precursor before the osteoporosis. Just giving you, making you think about what you can do to help as you age. The NIH calls osteoporosis a childhood disease with old age consequences. So just think back, the things that you did when you were younger are going to give you consequences the older we get. Okay. So next, true or false? Bones affected by osteoporosis can break from a fall, and in some serious situations, just from sneezing, coughing, or hitting a minor bump. It's true. A minor fall, a sudden movement, even a sneeze can break a bone in someone with osteoporosis. So you saw the picture of the bone, so the worse it gets, the more fragile your bones and your structure will be. Because it happens over a long period of time and does not hurt, osteoporosis is referred to as the silent or invisible disease. Just think about it, you can't look at your bones, so not like your skin, you can see your skin, you're going to take care of that. But your bones, you can't look at them, you can't see what's going on, when you look in the mirror or whatever. So it could be happening and you don't even realize it. Bones are the most vulnerable to osteoporosis, including the spine, hips, ribs, underarms, and wrists. So fractures and breaks can be painful, disfiguring, take a long time to heal, and even life-changing. Breaking a hip could be very detrimental to a life. Just change your life altogether because it's not gonna be the same afterwards. You know, breaking a wrist or something like that is not quite as bad as a hip, I don't think. You know, if you're thinking about life and the way you can do life. Recovery time may be spent in bed, which can lead to other problems like blood clots and pneumonia, things like that. So just breaking a bone can compound into something else or make it worse. True or false? There is no cure for osteoporosis. True. There is no cure, but there are ways to prevent it and treat it to make it, better. Okay, so we're going to move on from the quiz, and we're going to talk about who is at most risk. That's a lot of information. It's talking about the normal bone. It's got you can really see those two different pictures there. Very important facts. Approximately 1.6 million hip fractures occur worldwide each year. By 2050, this number could reach between 4.5 million and 6.3 million. So women over 45, osteoporosis accounts for more days spent in the hospital than any other disease, including diabetes, myocardial infarction. So those are some big numbers there. A lot of people are suffering from this osteoporosis. BMI could be a factor, and it's talking about the things that we put in our bodies, how it affects us. I have a handout that you all can take with you. You can make copies of it or for your group, and it talks a little bit more about these details here. This is a little quiz that you can take to see how big of a risk that you are for osteoporosis, and it's in that pamphlet, so you can take that with you. You can make copies, and everybody can just to get a better idea of how big a risk that you are for the activity for this osteoporosis. So let's talk about a little bit more detail. Who is at risk for osteoporosis? There are preventable factors, but there are the non-preventable factors. So family history, your age, your gender, your ethnicity. So these are the things that we don't have control over, and then these are the ones that we have control over. Our diet. So if you have a poor diet, that's gonna not benefit your bones or your body. For poor nutrition, we need to eat nutrient-dense foods. Lack of weight-bearing physical activity. So when we do physical activity, it helps our body. We build muscle, and our bones get strength from that because your muscles are helping your bones. Smoking or excessive alcohol can be detrimental to our health. And then certain medications, a side effect of that may be harmful for your bones, your body may not absorb that calcium that you take in, things like that. So medications, it's always good to read those side effects of medications that we take so we know what's going on.
Do you know any of them right off the top of your head, of any medication?
I don't myself, no. That's where you would talk with your physician on that may be some questions, but if you're going to a doctor visit soon, maybe you want to write down those questions that you could talk to them about. Of course, there's always the internet that you can WebMD, and there's some other things like that, but talk to your physician would be great. Both men and women are at risk for osteoporosis, but women are they have a higher factor. The risk of osteoporosis does increase with age. So 60 plus would be, more of the age frame. Women also experience bone loss more quickly during menopause. We know how our hormones fluctuate and all that, so that it's drawing all these things from our bodies. Following menopause, bone loss continues, but at a slower rate. According to the NIH, by age 65 or 70, men and women experience bone loss at similar rates. So within that menopausal time frame, we're going to lose it more quickly than men, but it kind of levels out after 65 or 70. So there are additional risk factors. Broken bones after 50, loss of height. Does anybody feel like they're shrinking now? Yeah. My brother-in-law's a few years older than me, and he used to be a little taller than me, and now I feel like I'm looking down at him. I'm like, what, are you shrinking? He's like, yeah, I think I am. Or the stooped posture, the curvature, menopause and early menopause. So these are just things, a lot of these things we don't have control over, you know. Removal of an ovary before menopause, things like that. Low calcium intake throughout life. So if you've been one that didn't have your calcium throughout your life, your bones might be more affected at this time. Lack of sun exposure, you know, that vitamin D that we make when we're out in the sun, that's going to help us, our whole bodies. Another risk factor might be extended bed rest. Maybe you were sick for a period of time and you had to stay in the bed, or, you know, for that extended periods of time when you're not getting your exercise and moving your bodies. Medical conditions like breast and prostate cancers, HIV, diabetes, rheumatoid arthritis, and then certain digestive diseases. I have Crohn's disease, so I have to really watch my diet, and I take supplements to help my body. So I know this is going to be another factor for me the older I get, because if I'm not eating that nutrient-dense foods, my body's not absorbing those nutrients. It's going to affect my bones as well as my digestive tract. Being underweight. Usually people that are underweight are probably not getting enough nutrition. They're not feeding their body the nutritional food that they need. A petite frame. Sedentary lifestyle. All these factors are going to contribute to the osteoporosis. Okay. Diagnosing osteoporosis. It's important to talk about bone health with a healthcare professional throughout your lifespan. So you've already maybe had discussion with your doctor, and if you haven't, maybe it is time that you do that. As a parent or grandparent, be sure to have conversations with your children about bone health. You know, you can talk about you need to eat this or you need to drink the milk, things like that. To the younger they start and keep doing it, the better their bones are going to be. The health habits your kids have now or grandkids, that it's going to make or break their bone health. That's no pun intended there. Make or break your bones. But we need to build our children's bone bank so they can, the older they get, the better bones they're going to have. Kind of like saving for their education. You want them to save those bones for their older life, right? The ways you can help them is encourage them to consume calcium, be out in the sun, build that vitamin D in their body. You want their body to be. And if they're, like the winter time, take a supplement with vitamin D. Be physically active with weight-bearing activity. No smoking or vaping. Cut back on sugary drinks. Sugary drinks are terrible, and the kids drink them. You know, we all drink them, but I'm just saying, kids, they don't think about what they're putting in their body a lot of times. Talk to a healthcare professional. If a girl has not gotten her period by age 15, there may be underlying things. Of course, that's going to affect their bones if that's prolonged to not start their period. If there are concerns about bone strength or osteoporosis at any age, bone health assessments like a fracture risk assessment and bone mineral density test can be ordered and further identify the risks. So there are things that can be done to kind of check and see where you're at, or the children in your life, especially teenagers. maybe if they have fractures or they've broken several bones. I know there's some kids, they just break bones all the time, and that may be a factor. So there is an International Osteoporosis Foundation, and they suggest the following questions to ask a healthcare professional. So there are, and it is in these questions are in the facilitator guide, things that you can ask your physician. So if you don't know what you would ask, here's some suggestions that can get you more information as you talk to your doctor. So treatment, it can be very effective and contribute to the life quality. It's never too early or too late to take care of your bones. To help improve bone health, consider your nutrition, your physical activity, and then things you do to prevent falls. And some of that physical activity could be, maybe if you have a sedentary lifestyle, just getting up out of the chair, walking around the house, especially if it's cold outside, but just that walk to the mailbox, or, carry something across the room and set it somewhere else. You know what I'm saying? Just working your muscles and your body. This is just encouraging you, be proactive, embrace your bone health at every age and stage. Just do all the things wherever you are, whatever stage that you're at. So these are the things that we just talked about. Proper nutrition, think about eating those fruits and vegetables, all the basic foods that you can help your bones and your body, get the great nutrition, physical activity. And then, do you guys do anything to help your body prevent falls? I know there's some activities that you can do specifically for your balance, or getting yourself up and down out of chairs, things like that. I know my mom, she's gotten to this point where she falls all the time, and I'm like, don't go outside by yourself, for one, because she's fallen 2 or 3 times outside. But just that, I'm just telling her, practice getting up out of the chair, hold on to that, put something beside your chair don't be walking around without, she had a walker at one time, just the little one you push around. I'm like, he told you to use that, please use that. She's hard-headed. She doesn't want to listen. Let's see. This is a age and life stage, and it's just telling you how many milligrams of calcium that you need at what stage of life that you're in. So those are good to know. So after 50 years of age, you need 1,000 to 1,200 milligrams of calcium to support your bone health. As people grow in age, bones are constantly changing. This means you should prioritize a diet that supports your healthy bones. Calcium is a mineral our body needs to work the right way and helps to build and maintain our bones. So we always need calcium, no matter what stage of life we're at. We always need calcium. It is essential to give your body the calcium it needs across the lifespan, and the needs for calcium change based on age and life stage. So we just need to, this chart would be great to have, and just so you think about it, how much you need. So where do you get your calcium? Calcium is found in a variety of foods, but is predominantly found in dairy items. For those who cannot tolerate cow's milk or animal-based dairy items, there are other foods and beverages that you can help you meet your calcium needs. So, what do you think of first when I say calcium? What do you think of first? Milk. But there's other things. So, all the different cheeses. And then there's almonds, breakfast cereals, but you need to watch your sugar intake if you're eating cereals, so that kind of thing. Cheese, you can add cheese to your sandwich, add vegetables and main dishes. So cheese, My husband's like, there's not enough cheese on that. He wants more. So there's always, you can always add more, right? Does anybody like cottage cheese? My grandson loves cottage cheese. He would just soon eat that bowl of cottage cheese than anything. I'm like, okay, you can have cottage cheese. If you like lasagna, you get the ricotta cheese and put that in there. But I don't know that I've ever had it in anything else besides lasagna. But it says you can add it to a waffle or pancake batter. It makes sense. Either one of those, you can add it to add your. I think there's a lot of protein in cottage cheese also, so that's a good thing. For those who do not like milk, consider drinking your calcium in a smoothie made with leafy greens, fruits, and calcium fortified orange juice. I don't think of orange juice when I think of calcium, but I could see putting all those things together would be beneficial. Vitamin D, food, sunlight, and supplements. My paper's not up to where I need to be. Okay. Vitamin D is another important nutrient for bone health. It is crucial for efficient calcium absorption. So the vitamin D is going to help your body absorb the calcium. The other foods that include the vitamin D or high in vitamin D, salmon, canned tuna, egg yolks, cow's milk, vitamin D fortified foods like there are orange juice and breakfast cereals. So depending on what you can eat and the vitamin D is there to help our bodies absorb the calcium. A vitamin D deficiency can be serious as it is necessary for warding off bone-related diseases and disorders, including osteoporosis. So vitamin D and calcium work together for our bones. So there's some recipe cards, and there's a couple recipes printed out here that boost bone health. Kicking greens, cheesy squash medley, and ricotta pancakes. So y'all can take some of those with you and share with your group. You can make extra copies. The ricotta pancakes. It says this recipe provides a creative example of boosting calcium in common foods we prepare. The ingredients are simple and work well for demonstration and tasting. Using a blender or food processor, you would be beneficial with this recipe for a smooth consistency. The recipe provides 15% daily value of calcium, and the recipe has 250 calories, 15 grams of fat, non-saturated fat, so no trans fats, and very little sugar, and 13 grams of protein. So that's a very good recipe all around. And who doesn't love pancakes, right? And if you get some pure maple syrup, you're really good to go. Get the good natural stuff. So physical activity can support bone health. Moving more, sitting less, it increases your bone and muscle strength, improves your, decreases risk of bone fractures, improves balance and posture, and relieves or decreases pain. Exercise in childhood can establish healthy habits as well as strong bones for later in life. So you think about all the play that you did when you were young as a child. Hopefully it gave you a good base for your bones now. Young adults who regularly exercise achieve great peak bone mass than those who are not active. And a lifetime of physical activity is associated with maintaining bone mineral density. So those are just some suggestions. Exercising before the age of 40 can help reduce the risk of falling later in life. Just all the things that we've done, you just think about, everything you've done up to now has helped or hurt where you are as far as your health is concerned. Weight bearing and resistance exercises are recommended for keeping bones healthy and strong. If you don't have the little hand weights at home, you can use cans of vegetables or, you know, something, canned food, or you could use water bottles, things like that, and you can fluctuate the weight in there if you use water bottles, so you can make them heavier or lighter. But those are just things that you would have on hand that you can use at home. Weight-bearing exercises include walking, hiking, jogging, climbing stairs, skipping rope, dancing, and racket sports like tennis or pickleball. Did y'all play pickleball? I know we did the lesson. Did anybody go play it? It's pretty fun. After we did that lesson here, I went and bought some paddles and balls and took my kids, my grown kids, and we all played, but it was fun. According to the International Osteoporosis Foundation, vigorous exercise that requires short bursts of high intensity and or high impact are more stimulating to bone cells than low impact exercises. So that tennis or that pickleball where you're stopping and starting and that kind of thing. So those are good for you. So these are just some examples. Maybe you want to try something new.
No way.
No.
At this stage.
But when you're even walking can help reduce those hip fractures and things like that. The walking the stairs, stepping up and down, that kind of thing. While aerobic activity like swimming and cycling is good for cardiovascular health because it is non-weight bearing, it does not improve the bone density. So maybe if you did some walking and did the other exercises. You gotta mix it up a little bit, do something different. Don't always do the same thing, right? Resistance exercises include weightlifting, heavy weights lifting rapidly or more. Heavy weights lifted rapidly are more effective than light weights slowly. So depending on how you're doing, what you're doing, there's lots of information out there of research that you can do, what's best for you at what stage of life that you're into. The International Osteoporosis Foundation recommends targeting bones more susceptible to osteofracture, like your hip, your wrist, and your mid-spine. So there's parts of your body that you need to focus on the older we get or the different life stages. Weightlifting is the most popular form of resistance training. You can use free weights, that's why we talked about the water bottles and the cans. Kettlebells, free weights, dumbbells, exercise machines. You can even lift weights in a pool. So, do y'all go to any of the water? I know they have some water sports stuff that you can do at the Y, or they used to have classes over there at the health park. Yes, yeah. Thank you. I couldn't think of it. I always thought that would be fun just to go and do that in the pool. And body weight training includes calisthenic exercises like crunches, push-ups, squats. These exercises help you gain strength and mass. The resistance comes from moving your body against gravity. So anything pushing away from the earth is the resistance. There's elastic bands now too, and they're a little bit easier on your body and your joints. They give you an easy way to exercise at home. Originally designed for rehabilitation, they can also be used for resistance workouts. You can do traditional exercises like lateral raises, chest presses, and bicep curls. Various color bands indicate the amount of resistance ranging from easy to hard. So have you ever used the resistance bands? They're kind of fun. You know, you can do all the different things. So, and it's not quite as, and it's easy. You can take it with you if you're going on vacation or whatever. You don't have to worry about those heavy weights and stuff like that. So if you are older than 40, have osteoporosis or other health conditions like heart trouble, high blood pressure, diabetes, or obesity, it's important to talk to your healthcare professional to design a physical activity program appropriate for your abilities. So if you have other health factors, you know, before you start a regimen of exercise or whatever, lifting weights, any of that kind of stuff, you need to talk to your physician to make sure that he approves or she approves of you doing those kind of things. it's important to stretch and strengthen muscles safely, protect your posture, and monitor progression of your activities. You should also consider supervised exercise, especially if balance is poor. So avoid exercise or activity associated with frequent injuries like mountain biking or ice skating.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know, but me, in my mind, riding a bicycle down the side of a mountain does not sound enticing. You know, it sounds very dangerous to me. There's more information on the website of the CDC. You can look up some different things. So if you have internet access, you can look that up. So the International Osteoporosis Foundation, that's a mouthful, recommends jumping approximately 3 inches high to 3 to 6 days a week to increase bone density. So if you don't have anything else to do, go outside and jump in the air. So you make your vitamin D and you're working your bones and your muscles. So
Then your
Break
neighbors
something.
would be calling people and saying, yeah, go check her out. Neighbor would be calling and say, what are you doing? What are you doing?
do it together though. Make sure you're all in a group so nobody falls and but it's promoting this to get you to do something and get up and move. You could do 2 to 3 sets of 10 repetitions of a multiple weightlifting exercises 3 days a week. So you could do some type of weightlifting exercises. 45 to 60 minutes of weight-bearing aerobic exercise 3 days per week, like brisk walking. Y'all like to get out and walk a little bit? It's good for us, especially if we can get out in the sunshine. I know we're getting to warm weather, so that'll be good for you to get out, all right? There's also the Silver Sneakers 15-minute total body chair workout. It builds strength in your arms, legs, core, and more without ever having to stand up. So maybe if your balance is not what it used to be, then this type of chair activity would be good. And there's a website, Silver Sneakers, that you can use the videos and get help that way. Things that you want to do or would like to do. She's got the stretchy band there. That's good to use also. So here's a video. If y'all want to watch the video and just know that it's there. If you all do this as a homemaker group, there's a waiver that can be signed to make sure that everybody's covered and everybody's good for the chair workout. So they're doing shoulder raises. What was the other one? Shoulder rotation, shoulder raise, bicep curls. That's just doing this here. Like I said, if you don't have weights, then you can use whatever that you can. She's even marching. This is a heel tap. So if you got the PowerPoint, you could do this as a group at your meeting if you want to do that. And play the videos. Of course, it's on YouTube, so you can look it up. So there's if you're at a risk for falls, which the older we get, the more we are. Of course, I mean, I could trip and fall out here and get hurt, so there's not an age to that, but we want to work on our fall prevention to support our bone health. Manage your medications, keep your glasses clean so you can see where you're going, getting regularly vision checks, taking safety precautions at home, like make sure there's proper lighting, there's grab bars around the bathrooms and showers and things like that, using mobility devices properly. Yeah, getting on and off that little scooter at Walmart, that might be dangerous. Or driving it through the parking lot to go to your car. Wearing proper footwear. Sometimes we don't think about that particular thing, but standing up slowly, being careful on stairs, taking extra precaution outdoors in bad weather. So I know we all do that nowadays, don't we? This weather we've had in January and February with all the ice and the storms, and really gotta watch what we're going, where we're going. But one fall can be very life-changing. Falls are the leading cause of injury and injury-related death among older adults, according to the National Council on Aging. Falls can impact your independence. It can also create a fear when you're going out or, doing things on your own, which then limits your physical and social activities. The impact of falls is compounded in people with osteoporosis. More chance of breaking a bone if you do fall. Exercise helps prevent falls. As a reminder, exercise before the age of 40 can help reduce the risk of falling in later in life. Exercise that targets balance and lower and upper limb strength are best for reducing fractures and fall risk. For healthy individuals, exercises like Tai Chi, yoga, Pilates improve your balance. Anybody do yoga or Tai Chi or Taekwondo? Other ways to prevent falls, that's what we just talked about. I'm out of order here. So whether you're taking care of yourself or your children or your grandchildren, there are things you can do across the lifespan that will help prevent osteoporosis and build strong bones. And the NIH.gov website, they have all kinds of more information if that is needed. And all these, American Bone Health, CDC, Osteoporosis Foundation, and the NIH, all of these are where you can get more information if you need that. Any questions? I don't know that I can answer them, but I know it's a lot of information, but it was pretty straightforward and good information.